Hey guys, welcome back to my nail Pura. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I make my coffee soap. This is a cold process soap that I have made that I sell on my website and also in my Etsy store. This soap is absolutely amazing. If you guys want to see how I make this soap, keep on watching. And also I have the recipe in the description box below. Completely mixed together and dissolved. I'm going to set this to the side and then measure out my oils and we're ready to soap. So we need 90.2 grams of our lye. So we're going to set the lye to the side and bring back our ice, and then we're going to add the two together. So to our ice and citric acid, we're going to add our lye. You can add this slowly or you can add it all at once. If you're just starting out, I would advise you to add it slowly. And once you've added your lye, just keep stirring and you'll find that the ice will continue to just melt away. And this just helps with the level of fume that you get from when you just use water. So you have less fumes when you use ice. And just keep mixing until all the ice is completely dissolved. Keep doing this and make sure the ice is completely dissolved, and also make sure that the lye is also completely dissolved. So just keep stirring. Okay, so let's measure the temperature. Usually when I make this, the temperature is over 200 Fahrenheit and 100 degrees. Now it's sitting at about 125 Fahrenheit and 56 degrees. So this kind of speed up the process. So I definitely need this solution to be under 40 degrees before I can mix this with my oils. So while this is cooling down, we're going to go ahead and measure out our oil and also our additives as well, which is my coffee, my clay, my fragrance, etc. So it's time to obviously prepare our oil for our soap. And if you've been here long enough, you know that I melt my cocoa butter and my citric acid with coconut oil first before I add the rest of my oils and my shea butter, because I want to preserve the nutrients that are in it. So we need 36 grams of our cocoa butter, 36 grams of citric acid, and we need in total 210 grams of coconut oil. But to melt all of this together, we're going to use 110 grams. So we're going to melt this and then come back and add the rest. So the citric acid, the coconut oil, and the cocoa butter have melted. So I'm going to add the rest of the coconut oil, which is, we've got 100 grams to add. So now we're going to add our shea butter. We need 120 grams of shea butter. And once we've added our shea butter, we just have to mix this into the oil until the shea butter is completely melted. And if you find that it's not melting as fast because your oil is not as hot, you can of course pop it back into your double boiler or your water bath. And also you can pop it into the microwave as well, if you so choose. So to this we need to add 150 grams of olive oil. Then we're going to add 48 grams of castor oil. So this is all the oils that we need to make our soap. So I'm just going to mix this together so that everything's completely combined, especially with the citric acid we have in this solution. We want to make sure that everything is completely combined. So mix this. If you have to pop it into the water bath just to melt anything, then do that. So let's measure the temperature, and it is sitting at about 106 Fahrenheit and about 41 degrees. So I need it to be just under 40 for this to work. And also our lye also sits at, let's mix that, and also our lye sits at 45 degrees, so we need our lye to also cool down first. So I'm going to set the lye and this to the side to cool down further, and then in the meantime I'm going to measure out the rest of my additives, and then hopefully we'll be ready to soak. Okay, so let's measure out the additives that we need for our soap. So I'm going to start with the kaolin clay, 6 grams of kaolin clay. I need 24 grams of my coffee grounds. And for our fragrance, I'm using a coffee fragrance oil. This is the first time I'm using this fragrance oil in soap, and I hope it doesn't cause my soap to seize. I have used fragrances from this company before, so in soap, and I didn't have any problem. So we need 30.60 grams of our coffee fragrance. So I'm going to set this to the side, and we're going to bring in our lye and our oil to see if they've reached the desired temperature. So our lye is falling at 41, so that's okay. I'm happy with that. 41 degrees. Our oil, let's have a look. Our oil is currently at 41.2, and that's fine too because they're both at similar temperatures. So ideally I soap at below 100 Fahrenheit and below 40. But in the meantime, we're going to add our additives to this. I'm going to add my kaolin clay first, and then we'll add our lye. Okay, so it's getting pretty dark, so I have to use my artificial light to help brighten up this video. So what we're going to do first, we're going to add our kaolin clay to our oil and mix this together. What we're going to do, we're going to add our lye solution. And sometimes because we're using citric acid for our hardener, this can somehow make the soap to be harder in some places initially. So just keep moving your stick blender. Just keep moving your stick blender around as you whisk slowly, and everything should combine. To add my coffee grounds, I'm happy with this. And then we're going to add our fragrance. I've got my mold ready. Listen, I always have my mold ready before I add my fragrance, just in case anything disastrous decides to occur. So we're going to add our coffee. I'm going to add the coffee gradually to see if I have decided to use a bit too much. I really want the coffee grounds to come out in this soap. So I'm just going to add a little at a time until I'm happy with the desired results or the color that I need. This might be okay, this might be enough. Let me just measure out how much I used. So in total I used 12 grams of the coffee grounds, so that is 2% of our oil weight. Originally I measured out 4%, but it worked out that 2% is enough for what I need it for. So now that I'm happy with this, it's time for us to go in and add our fragrance. And And let's hope the fragrance behaves. Guys, the smell of the coffee alone is absolutely amazing. It smells so good. And I think the fragrance and the coffee smell is absolutely divine. So the fragrance definitely haven't accelerated my trace. So we're just going to keep mixing this without turning the stick blender on, so that we don't create too much bubbles in the soap until we kind of reach trace. And I think we've actually reached trace. So we are ready to pour. Guys, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, so let's pour. So it seems like this is actually setting pretty fast. So we're going to decorate the top with my signature decor. Okay guys, this is our coffee soap. The color looks absolutely amazing, and also it smells absolutely gorgeous. Okay guys, so it's been over 12 hours since we made our coffee soap. So now it's time for us to cut the soap.